What's up, guys? It's your boy King Scourge here, and tonight I'm giving you guys another deck profile. So I'm gonna be kind of quiet about this one because I do have people asleep, and I normally don't do videos late at night, but tonight's an exception. I should have done this earlier, but my grandmother just went to sleep. I'm bringing you my Mythical Endymion deck. And I haven't played this deck in a while, but it's a pendulum-based deck, and it revolves around spell counters. And this deck is actually really like one of the very few decks that can has built-in deck negation, not from the extra deck. And I'll explain all the combos in a moment. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep it kind of quiet. So if you guys can't hear my voice, I'll show you the cards and let's get started, guys. We'll work around that. So, and of course, if you haven't already, please feel free to look at my other deck profiles and like, comment, and subscribe for more content, as I really do like doing this kind of stuff with you guys, and I'll try to do much stuff whenever I can. So, without further ado, first card that I play the three ofs for the monsters. We play one of the big boys himself, the Spell and Trap Negation. Endymion, Mighty Master of Magic. So this card is like one of the longest cards in Yu-Gi-Oh. So I'm just gonna sum it up. I'm gonna read one of these cards, but so basically, his pendulum skill is 8, level 7 spellcaster. His pendulum skill reads: you can remove 6 spell counters from your field, anywhere from your field. Special summon this card from the pendulum zone. Then you can, non-targeting destruction, you can destroy that many cards on the field, and if you do, place spell counters equal on this card equal to the number of cards destroyed. You can only use this effect once per turn. So naturally, the deck you're going to have a fuck ton of spell counters. So yeah, you need to run 3 of him. His monster effect is once per turn, when a spell, trap, or effect is activated, quick effect. So it's a quickie. You can return 1 card you control with a spell counter on it, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Then you can place the same number of spell counters on this card that the return card had. So basically, let's say you had a Jackal King with 6 counters, and someone tries to Regeki you can return any card that has spell counters on it. So let's say you wanted to return like a Servant of Endymion back into your to your hand, and it had 3 spell counters. Basically, bounce the Servant or whatever card, a spell counter. He gains the spell counters, and then you can just negate and destroy anything. And this is a soft once per turn. The negation is a soft once per turn. And while he has a spell counter, he can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects, your opponent's card effects. And then basically, when this card with a spell counter is destroyed by battle, you get to search a spell. So you need to play 3 of him. He's like the bread and butter of the deck. And he comes in a structure deck, so he's relatively cheap. He's relatively cheap. You need to play 3 of him. Next, another 3 of that I feel like I played 3 of. Most of the Endymion stuff I played 3 of, except for Magister. I think I only played 2 Magister. But I might play him at 3 as well. But next we play 3 Reflection of Endymion. Sorry, I'm gonna have to read these cards because these cards have way too many words and stuff. So, Reflection of Endymion's pendulum effect is a scale 2. Each time a spell card is activated, you get to place 1 spell counter on this card when it resolves. You can remove 3 spell counters from this card, special summon both this card and 1 from your pendulum zone and 1 monster from your hand that you can place a spell counter on. So you can summon the mythical beasts or whatever you may need. And if you do, you place 1 spell counter on each. Okay, it's a pretty nifty effect. You can only special summon her once per turn, of Reflection of Endymion once per turn, and basically she is a, if you special summon, you can basically, she's a compulse on summon. And then place the number, and then she gains the spell counter. So if you have a Jackal King, for example, a mythical based Jackal King, what you do is you pendulum summon, and then target the Jackal King or whatever card that you can place spell counters on, bounce it back, she gains the spell counters, and then you get to bounce out the card, your opponent draws back to that hand as well. But she's level 7, and she's a low scale, but you need to play, I personally play 3 of her as well. Next we play, or at least I play, 3 Magical Abductor. Besides being a scale 3, basically her, I'm yawning a lot, I shouldn't be. Her pendulum scale basically, whenever a spell card is activated after resolve, place 1 spell counter on this card. You can remove 3 spell counters to search any pendulum monster from your deck or hand, to add a pendulum monster to your deck or hand. So she's actually really pretty insane. You need to play 3 of her as well. And then her monster effect you will never use, but you can. But she has the same effect, and then she gains 100 attack for each spell counter on her. And then you can remove 3 spell counters from. You can remove 3 spell counters from on your field, I believe. God, I like yelling so much right now. I really am sorry. Ugh. Okay, I think we're good. I'm sorry, guys. So, yeah. You can remove 3 spell counters from this card, add 1 level 1 spellcast from your deck to your hand. So, you don't play any targets for her. If you wanted to, you can play like a tuning magician or some shit. But I play 3 of her because she's a low scale and she's actually really nutty. Next, for the mythical beasts, we play 3 of the big boss, 3 of the Master Cerberus himself. You're not going to be able to pendulum summon him, but you can get him out with like reflection and shit. But he's a scale of 4. But he searches your Jackal King because his pendulum scale specifically states that if you have no cards in your other pendulum zone, you can destroy this card, and if you do add 1 level 7 or lower, add 1 level 7 or lower, you can destroy this card, and if you do add 1 level 7 or lower mythical beast effect monster from your deck to your hand, you can only use this effect once per turn. Sorry. Again, I don't know what's going on right now. I had a long day, but yeah, so you typically what you do is you pop, you activate this, pop itself, search Jackal King, use Jackal King's effect in the pendulum zone. Jackal King pops to summon this from your extra deck. And then each time a spell resolves, he gains 2 spell counters. He can't be destroyed by opponent's card effects while he has spell counters on him. Well, there's 4 more spell counters on your field. And you can remove 4, once per turn, you can remove 4 spell counters from your field to target 1 monster your opponent controls, banish it, and if you do, this card gains its attack equal to the attack of the banished target until the end of your opponent's turn. So he removes spell counters from your field, so that really shouldn't be a problem, but I play him as a 3 of. Again, you can summon him other ways, but typically you're going to be summoning him and then using him for link fodder or some shit. He's really nutty because he gets out your Jackal King, which is going to be your monster negate, main deck monster negate. Next, we play the three brick, 3 chronograph. It's a free summon from hand, and then it searches your time gazer. But if you need to, it's a scale 8. If you need to, again, it searches your garnet, your time gazer. But yeah, play 3 chronograph. I'd play astrograph if it wasn't banned. Next, I only play 2 Magister. I feel like 3. You don't need to play 3. I feel like 2 is just fine. At least it's been working out for me. So, Magister's effect is each time a spell card is activated, place one spell counter after it resolves. You can remove 3 spell counters from this card and then special summon this card from your Pendulum Zone and a face-up monster from your extra deck that you can place a spell counter on. So yeah, he's another way to kind of get out your Jackal Kings and pretty much everything. I actually am considering bumping him back up to 3, but for right now 2 is fine for me right now. You can only monster effects. You can only special summon Magister of Endymion once per turn. When this card declares an attack, you can place 1 spell counter on it. Once per opponent's turn, quick effect, you can move 3 spell counters from your field, special summon 1 monster from your deck that you can place a spell counter on. And if this card is destroyed, you can place it in the Pendulum Zone, then place the same number of spell counters that it had on the field as it was a monster. So basically, when he's destroyed, he places himself in the Pendulum Zone, then you gives him, so if he had like 3 counters, then he puts his counters on himself in the Pendulum Zone. So if he had 3 counters, then he would, yeah. Like I said, I play 2 of him. I would seriously recommend bumping him up to 3 just for now, but 2 has been working out just fine. Mainly because he's a scale 8, and I actually remember I'm actually borrowing a 3rd copy of Magister and Endymion for a different deck at the moment. But yeah, I play him as a 2-up, but I would probably consider bumping him up to 3. But that's just my preference. Next, I only play 2 Jackal King. You only need to play 2. Besides being access to Norito with Chronograph, every time a spell is activated, gains 2 counters just like Master Cerberus. And this is a monster effect. And then during either player's turn, when your opponent's when a monster activates its effect, you can remove 2 counters from your field, negate the activation if you do destroy that card. It is not once per turn, so if you pendulum summon 2 out to the field, you can negate twice, so you have 2 negates. So yeah, it's really stupid, and its pendulum scale effect is if you have no cards in your other Pendulum Zone, you can destroy it and special summon a Mythical Beast from your extra deck. So yeah, you search Master Cerberus and then 1 face-up Mythical Beast Pendulum Monster from your extra deck. So yeah, typically you're going to go for Master Cerberus, but you could do the other Mythical Beast if you have them. Depends on whatever you need, but you only need to play 2 Jackal King. I don't think you need to play 3. Next, for the 1-ups, I play 1 mini Jackal, baby Jackal, for the extra spell counters. If you have no other card in your Pendulum Zone, you can target 1 face-up card you control that can place a spell counter on it. Destroy this card. If you do place 1 spell counter on that card, you can only use its effect once per turn. And then each time a spell is activated as his monster, while it's a monster, he places 1 spell counter on himself. And then you can remove 3 spell counters from your field, tribute this card, special summon 1 Mythical Beast effect monster from your deck, except for Mythical Beast Jackal. So he kind of helps you cheat out your Jackal King, whatever Mythical Beast you really need. Typically, you're going to do Master Cerberus or Jackal King because you want to get out your negates like as quick as possible. So I play 1 of that. Next, I play 1 Mythical Beast Basilisk. So each time its monster effects, each time a spell card is activated, place 1 counter on it. You can move 3 spell counters from your field. Return 1 Mythical Beast card from your Pendulum Zone to the zone or face up from your extra deck to the hand. You can only use its effect once per turn. If you have no other cards in your Pendulum Zone, you basically destroy this card and then shuffle 1 face-up spellcast Pendulum Monster from your extra deck into your main deck to draw a card. So he's kind of an extra draw. You can cut him if you want, but I feel like these are all 1-ups that have been working out for me. I mean, you can do some pretty stupid shit with my ratios. Again, it's all up to player preference at that point, but this is what I play. And then I play one Mythical Beast, Garuda. You only need one. Basically, it's a compulse. If you have no other cards in your he's an MST if you have no other cards in your spell and trap zone, or your pendulum zone. I'm sorry. And then his monster effect is each time a spell or trap is each time a spell is activated, he gains a spell counter like all the other cards. And then when your opponent normals or special summons a monster except during damage step, of course, you can remove 3 spell counters from your field, special summon it, and if you do, return that card to the hand. So it's a quick effect. Yeah, it's a quick effect. It's really stupid, but yeah, if you have him in hand, it's a quick effect. You can just be like, bounce. I remember when the Endymion shit first came out, this card skyrocketed like $20, the whole Mythical Beast shit, because Mythical Beast Jackal King is a level 6 spellcaster, so it was used in Pendulum Magicians, which it still is. It's still considered a tech card in Pendulum Magician because it's a free negate that you can literally just Pendulum summon, because Pendulum Magicians have scales 1 and 8, and they can just dump their whole hand. So you only need one of that. And next, we play only one servant because she's limited, Teardrop. But Blue Girl is nuts. I was actually taking her, and if I would have known her effect, I would have freaking played her. I would have played her in my Windwitch Magister, but basically she got put to 1 for a good reason. But each time a spell she summons your Endymions from the deck. So basically, it may as well just say, summon Endymion, summon Big Boy, the level 7 Endymion from deck. But each time a spell, she's a scale 2, each time a spell card is activated, place a spell counter on this card. You can remove 3 spell counters from your field, or from this card, and then spell summon both this card and 1 monster that you can place a spell counter on. Her pendulum scale is a lack of, you can only summon her once per turn, but there's a discrepancy there was actually discrepancy with her, so Konami had to put her to 1 because there's a discrepancy where her effect isn't once per turn. You can only summon her once per turn. So the question was, couldn't you actually still resolve her effect if you've already summoned her, special summoned her? But her monster effect is, besides being only summon 1 servant of Endymion per turn, basically if she has a spell counter, she can attack directly. Once per during your opponent's turn, you can discard 1 card, place 1 spell counter on each card that you control that you can place a spell counter on. So yeah, if you have your field spell and all this shit, discard 1 card and everything just gains a counter. Like, okay, so I can just get like 12 free counters. It's stupid, and this is also why Trapeze Magician is banned. But I actually played a couple of tuners just to screw on my opponent, just build up like 70 counters, and then Trapeze Magician just freaking burns your opponent for like 30,000 damage. Just one shot and just I love Trapeze Magician. That was so funny. Just sit there and just have control of the duel and just be like, Trapeze Magician, effect, discard 3 cards, put like 5 more counters on the field, and then I'm just going to use Trapeze Magician, remove every counter. I have like 70 counters. Yeah, 70 times 500, that's like 30,000 damage just in one shot. Yeah, that was some bullshit. But yeah, you need to place 1 servant because she's limited. Yeah, she's got put to 1 for a reason. And then we play the 1 brick, the 1 time gazer, the 1 garnet. Chronograph searches it. And then lastly for the monsters, we play 1 blue boy because we do play a spellbook package because this deck loves spells, because spell counters, spells, I mean, everything's pretty self-explanatory there. So that's it for the monsters. Let's talk about the spells and traps. I only play 2 of the field spell, Mythical Cathedral of Endymion. Each time a spell card is activated, place one spell counter in this card after it resolves. If this card would be on the field would be destroyed by a card effect, you can remove one spell counter from it instead. If you were to, once per turn, if you were to activate an effect by removing spell counters from a specific card, you can remove it from this card instead. So if it would be destroyed, you can just remove a spell counter as well. So if I have Servant and I have this on the field, and I have one counter on here on Citadel or whatever, I'm just gonna call it Cathedral. If I have one counter at Cathedral and two on Servant, I could still activate Cathedral, remove the one counter on here, and then remove the two on Servant, and then be able to summon whatever. So I only play two of it. You need to play at least one copy. Again, I personally play two, and it's been working out for me fine. Although it's been a really long while since I've played this deck because I have a fuck ton of other decks. So next, I play 3 Mythical Institution. I do not play Endymion's Lab, but I play 3 Mythical Institution. Each time a face-up Mythical Beast Pendulum monster is destroyed by battle or card effect, place 2 spell counters on this card. Once per turn, you can remove any number of spell counters from your field to add 1 monster from your hand or deck, or face-up extra deck with a level or equal to the number of spell counters removed. If this card would be destroyed, you can remove 1 spell counter from it instead. This is basically treated as your, you may as well call this your 3rd, 4th, and 5th copies of Magical Citadel. The Mythical Beasts, typically, if you have a Mythical Beast and an Endymion in your other pendulum scales, depending on which ones, it's kind of hard to get rid of them, but it shouldn't be that hard because you can, pop it with other things. And Mighty Master, you can even pop your own cards if you have a perfect setup. It's like, okay, pop some cards, get rid of some stuff, but yeah, this kind of acts as your 3rd, 4th, and 5th copies of the field spell. We can run terraforming, but I feel like we don't really need to. Next, we play 3 Spell Power Mastery. This literally says Search Servant. It literally says Search Servant. It may as well have just said that. But you can add any Endymion card from your deck to your hand. Then you can place spell counters up to the number of Spell Power Mastery and Spell Power Grasp you have in your graveyard. So if you have 3 copies of Spell Power Grasp, which we do not play, and so literally, let's say you have Servant, right? You have 3 copies of Spell Power Grasp in your grave. You activate this, Servant will then gain a counter after this resolves. You place another counter on Servant, that's 2, plus all your other things are getting counters because they all have effects when the spell resolves. So you'd be getting like 5 counters on Servant, like immediately. How this card has not gotten limited is beyond me, but this card is bonkers. You need to play 3 of it, no exceptions. Next, we play, I know it's kind of risky, but I play 2 Pot of Desires because draw power and spell counters. Like, you really, even though you risk banishing the 1 copy of Servant, if you open up with that, there are so many ways. You play multiple copies of everything, you could really give a shit what you banish. Just make sure you play, if you play your cards right, you can typically get the Servant out and pull out whatever you need, and typically get the Servant out and do your plays from there. Now, I have a tech card. This card is underestimated. I mean, I could think of a lot of cards that can play this. I play 2 Power of the Guardians. Equip this to if you're playing a Lyrlust deck, and you equip this to the bird that can hit you that many times, not Nightingale, not the fusion, but the bird, the one that can attack multiple times. This card is stupid, but if an attack is declared with the equipment, basically if the equipped monster battles, okay, you can you can place one spell counter on this card. Then the equipped monster automatically gains 500 attack and defense for each spell counter on this card. If the equipped monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can remove one spell counter from your field to prevent that monster being destroyed. So if you equip this to you can equip this to any monster, almost any monster, except for monsters that can't be targeted. But okay, why don't I equip it to a fucking Boral sword? Equip this Boral sword? It's already 3,000 attack, and it can't be destroyed by battle. Gives it an extra layer of protection. It can attack twice, so 35, 4,000 plus having it. It's stupid. I play this card at 2. I absolutely love it. Again, if you equip it to the bird, the one level rank 1 layer less bird, okay, so it's at 1,000. Okay, it's gonna hit you attack. It's gonna hit you for 15, hit you for 2,000, hit you for 25, hit you for 3,000. Yeah, it's just. I mean, the fact that it says remove one spell counter from your field, it doesn't have to be specifically from this card. So this is even a viable target for like Spell Power Grasp or Servant Endymion. Just okay, I'm gonna just boost up my monsters, equip it, and be like, okay, he's now 3,500 attack now. How? How'd you get so many spell counters? It's like, why? I feel a lot of people sleep on this card, but no, it can save your ass for sure. This card can literally save your ass. You can even use it as a chump blocker to block an attack or some stupid shit like that. Next, I play 2 Mythical Bastionary. You basically mill the top 2 cards from your deck to the graveyard, and then target one face-up card, place 2 spell counters on it. If it's destroyed by opponent's card effect, you can special summon one monster from your deck that you can place a spell counter on, and if you do, place 2 spell counters on it. So it's more spell counters, and it's a quick play, so you don't have to use it on the same turn. But it's pretty nuts. Next, I play 1 upstart, extra draw, and spell counters, 1 secrets, and the 1 knowledge. Because we played the Blue Boy package, we only play these 3 because of the fact that we play Crowley, the extra deck Crowley, and you just need 3 viable targets to search it. So, and it's extra draw. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's go in the extra deck. Now, my extra deck, I kind of just threw together. I mean, you occasionally use it, but this is what I kind of threw together, and it's been kind of fun, actually. So, first one that I feel we should play is Norito. Negates spells and traps. You can use a Jackal King, or you can use your extra chronograph sorcerers, or whatever you need. She's very easy to go into. You play 1 Naruto, 1 Photon Strike Bouncer. Again, negates monster effects if you have this in a Jackal King, but this one negates monster effects, and then you can just burn them for 1,000. It's just another negate kind of thing. Level 4s, I play 1 Trapeze Magician. Your entire deck is Spellcaster, so I think the only level 4 that you play actually in this deck is, well, you play a couple. You play a couple of the Mythical Beasts. Now, Trapeze Magician, there's another combo that you can do with Trapeze Magician and Power of the Guardians. Trapeze Magician basically protects you from any damage, battle or effect damage that's less than or equal to its attack. So if its attack is 3,000 or boosted, and if you were to take anything less than 3,000, you wouldn't take anything less than 3,000 if the damage would be total to that. And then you can have a monster attack twice, but it's destroyed at the end of the battle phase. Okay, so you can target a monster that can't be destroyed by card effects. Okay, attack twice. I mean, it's just really niche, because it's like, okay, equip it with a card like Power of the Guardians, or equip another monster with Power of the Guardians or some stupid shit and be like, equip this, have it use its effect, have the monster attack, and then gain some attack, and Power of the Guardians, gives it, and then have his attack go to like 4,000, and you're basically invincible at that point if your opponent can't kill that. because Power of the Guardians, you're basically invincible. Like, your opponent's gonna have a hard time trying to kill this fucker because he's protecting you from 4,000 points of battle damage or more, and then he's protecting the battle card effects with the Power of the Guardian. It's just a little thing that I just thought of, but yeah, I play a Trapeze Magician. And then I'd play a 1 Redoer because everyone loves Redoer. It's a pain in the ass, but everyone loves Redoer. Steals the top card of your opponent's deck. Every standby phase. And it's basically a mini Omega. It doesn't snipe the hand, but he can just off himself. he could just pull a Vanishing Act. He can do like some Chaos Control, Shadow the Hedgehog, Chaos Control type shit. End phase. Standby. So, yeah. Next, I play the 1 Absolute, because we do play a few level 7s. I mean, Big Boy plus a Reflection equals this. And we do play a Vortex package if you want to use links or whatever you may need. So Vortex is a free negation. Next, I am playing one Harmonizer Gradiel. Now, the sad thing is, I mean, yeah, she's a fairy, and she looks like a Melodious. You know what? Actually, now that I think about it, I think I might be able to play her in Sulfur Chords when they come out next week. Whenever I get Sulfur Chords, because I think they have a level 7, because all their levels vary. But basically, she's an interesting one. I mean, I don't really have very many other rank 7 decks that I can really play her in. I could try her and stuff, but her effect's kind of interesting. Her attribute is treated as her material. So if you have let's say you overlaid, let's say you have a wind and a water type attribute, she's treated as a light, water, and wind. And she can't be destroyed by battle with the monster of the same attribute, and she can't be destroyed by card effects of the activate of. She can't be destroyed by monster effects with the same attribute as well. And basically, she can, as a quick effect, you can detach material, target a card in your monster in your opponent's graveyard, attach it. So basically, she kind of swaps her materials around. And I figured since you pretty much run Dark and Light, those are probably the most. Someone can feel free to quote me on that, but playing Dark and Light attributes are like 2 of the most popular attributes in the game. Again, someone can feel free to quote me on that, but no, Dark and Light are like the most supported 2 attributed supported archetype, or not archetypes, but you guys get what I mean. So yeah, I'm playing one of her, just kind of a niche card. 1 Vortex because we play Absolute and it's a free negate. Who doesn't like free negates? Now for the links, I play 1 Daybreaker. Again, when Sulfur Chords come out, I'm going to try that other Pendulum Monster, see how that new Sulfur Chord Pendulum Monster, or Link Monster that comes out. Daybreaker requires 2 spellcasters, and whenever a spellcaster is summoned to his zone he points to, you can place 1 spell counter on him. And he gains 300 attack for each spell counter on him. And he places spell, and once per turn you can move a spell counter to destroy a card. Remove 2 spell counters from this card, and if you do, destroy it. Target 1 card in the field and destroy it. So, yeah, he gains 300 attack for each spell counter on the field. So, you play 1 Daybreaker. He's basically like the Daybreaker from the one that Yugioh used to absolutely curb stop Weevil into oblivion on the train. So, he's kind of like a hybrid of that. 1 Triple Burst because, again, it's technically another negate. During the damage step, if a card or effect would be activated, you can negate the activation if you do destroy it. And then he does piercing damage, and then during the main phase, except for the turn he was summoned, you can tribute this as target a link to a lower monster in your graveyard and summon it. So basically you can get back your Daybreak if you need it, or whatever. It's kind of a niche card, but again, I kind of just threw the deck together. The extra deck. One Zephyr Metaltron because the Link arrows, and it's easier to summon as per Master Rule 5. Pendulums still have to be summoned to a Link zone Link monster points to, which kind of sucks, but he's basically kind of a substitute for Electromite. Requires 2 monster special from the extra deck. You can basically banish a card. Basically, when a monster this card is points to that special from the extra deck is destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect, add 1 monster from your graveyard or face up pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. You can target 1 monster on the field and this card that was special from the extra deck. Banish them both until the end phase. You're not going to use that effect. You're just going to use the first effect more often than not, because he's basically kind of like Electromite. Next we play 1 Crawley, extra normal summons without tributing. You can reveal 3 spellbooks with different names, which is why we play 1, 1, and 1. Blue Boy, Secrets and Knowledge. So yeah, and just for the extra normal summon to search Blue Boy out and get more draws and stuff. Nothing too fancy there. And of course, for the Link 4, last of the Link 4s, and last my extra deck, I play 1 Boral Sword, 1 Warlord, and 1 Boral Sword. Again, making it into stealing monsters and reducing monsters' attack and can't be targeted by monster effects, and for killing people. And again, some stupid shenanigans with some bullshit shenanigans with Power of the Guardians for both of those. So yeah. So that's going to wrap up the deck profile, guys. As always, I really do hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. I'm sorry if I was yawning. I did kind of have a long day at work, and again, I'm trying to keep it quiet so I don't wake people up. I typically don't do videos at night, and this is for that reason, because again, people usually sleep. So I apologize for that, but I hope you guys really enjoy my content, and I have a few more videos in my backlog that I plan on getting out to you guys within a couple of days, depending on my work schedule and things like that. And I have plenty more deck profiles that I want to definitely showcase for you guys. I'm going to try and alternate stuff, so one day I'll try to do Sonic stuff and then do a Sonic video or whatever, and then another day do like a deck profile or some Yu-Gi-Oh video. I'm going to try my best to kind of split them up a little bit more for you guys. So I wish you guys a good night, and as always, feel free to like, comment, subscribe for more content, and if you guys have any constructive criticism or anything like that, that would be greatly appreciated, because you know we all want to become better duelists and things like that. Later, guys.